Look out, everyone. This year, the National League West looks like it's going to be a whole lot of fun.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever they're calling it these days, and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Instagram. But the best way to get a hold of me is just right here on the YouTubes and post a comment down there. Thanks so much for making Locked On MLB your first listen every day. And today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of things to betting on tomorrow because we got the national championship game. I'm going to bet everything on Florida. I know nothing about college basketball, but I just bet everything on Florida. Why? I just like saying Florida. Now, let's go over the trivia question, which is which current player has the longest active consecutive game streak? And apparently I didn't phrase it well because a lot of people were saying Cal Ripken. He's retired, and if he came back to play, that consecutive game streak is over. So maybe I need to be careful of how I to phrase these things. But Ken Mitchell got it right. He said it's Matt Olson. His streak dates back to his time with the Oakland A's. Oh, it was an innocent time when they were the Oakland A's. When the A's had a bunch of players, it was way back. You have to go back to 2021 when they put together a contender, and now they're playing somewhere. We're not allowed to say where, but I may be visiting there where they're secretly playing sometime this week. Hey, there's another team that plays in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they're not afraid to say what city they play in. They're the San Francisco Giants. Now, the Dodgers, of course, started the season with two victories in Japan, and they proceeded to just steamroll everyone that they played, and it was a big to do. And then they went to Philadelphia, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But when they were rampaging everywhere. Oh, everything. I'm here in Los Angeles County, and people are like, oh, this could be the greatest team ever. They could go 162-0. People are texting me and asking me to put up here, is this the greatest team of all time? Time will tell. They could go on to win 130 some odd games or something. We don't know. But what we do know is that when a team gets off to a great start, it's important for the other teams in that division to hang with them. Don't let them put the aft thrusters on too early. And I can tell you something. I spend a lot of time in the Bay Area. I spend a lot of my summers up in the Bay Area. And Giant fans are salivating to have something to get excited about. Since 2016, they've had one season of note, and that was the 2021 year, which turned out to be a complete and total fluke. And going into this year, there are some thoughts of, well, they'll probably be a little bit better, but they're in the same division as the Dodgers, the same division as the Padres, and the Diamondbacks look really good. And they look like they were going to be a quality fourth place team. And when they were losing with 2 outs in the ninth inning in the opening day, I know a lot of Giant fans were like, well, here we go again. And then they rallied. They lost the second game, and they haven't lost since. And guess what, folks? If you're a Giant fan, and I know a bunch of them listen to this show, if the first 9 games of the season are any indication, this is not only going to be a fun year, but one where you have to buckle your seatbelt. They had wild come from behind wins in that first series against Cincinnati. They had some tight games, especially the middle game against Houston. They had a come from behind walk-off win against Seattle on Friday, which they won in the 11th inning. And lo and behold, what do we have today? What have we here? Yet another walk-off win, a wild game, which out of the gate looked like Seattle was, going to salvage a game. And then in the fourth inning, the Giants struck back. Ramos got a single. Then Mike Yastrzemski, who apparently was requested a home run from his daughter, hit a 3-run home run, and next thing you know, it's 4-2 San Francisco. The Mariners wound up having the game tied in the ninth inning on an Arosa Reina 2-out double. But don't worry, Giants fans. Wilmer Flores, doesn't seem like Wilmer Flores already has 9-game winning RBI right now. Wilmer Flores came in and drove in the winning run. Right now, there is one team in baseball who has only one loss in their loss column, and that's the Giants. Now, they are currently in a virtual tie with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Giants are 8-1. The Dodgers are 9-2. The Padres are 8-2, by the way, and they're breathing down everyone's neck. The Giants could fall all the way to third place. I mean, but this is fun because all the people saying, "Oh, it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair." The Dodgers do this, the Dodgers do that, the Dodgers with a wiffle ball bat. That's the lone Beastie Boys reference I will ever make on this show. But yeah, they had this great advantage. They got off to the phenomenal start, and yet here we are, 1/16 of the way through the season, and the Giants and Padres are like, "All right, we're right alongside you. You do what you're doing, do what you do well." The Padres had a wild, absolutely wacko game against the Chicago Cubs, and it was a crazy back and forth game, and where there was all sorts of there was bases loaded, hit by pitches. Xander Bogaerts getting a big hit. Kyle Tucker got another home run. Jackson Merrill got a big home run, and then it just went back and forth. It was tied going into the eighth inning, and somehow, some way, the Padres wiggled out of an eighth inning rally. And then there was just a weird, little dribbler ground out. And Machado wound up getting the winning run across, and they held on for dear life and won 8-7. And you look up and down, Tucker had a phenomenal game for the Cubs, surprise, but Arise, remember him? He's starting to heat up again. He got 4 hits today, and neither team pitched well. Neither team had any quality pitching, but this was a win that the Padres got that they had no business winning. And the more of those you line up, the more of those you put together, well, the better off you're going to be. Now, the Dodgers did something which looked like people say, are they going to, lose a game this season? Well, they lost a series. They lost a freaking series. And it was, you know what? It was a really good series, to be fair. It was a really, it was back and forth, exciting baseball, to be fair. But it was, in the end, despite Teoscar Hernandez's 2 home runs and a double, it was, Castellanos got a grand slam, and the Phillies wound up scoring 2 in the 7th inning, thanks to Harper and Castellanos again, and Bryson Stott, and they held on for an 8-7 victory. I'm telling you, folks, the Phillies are going to be very good. The Phillies are sitting at a 7-2 record, but they've won. I pointed out before, they've already won some games they've had no business winning. And the more of those you put together, especially facing the Dodgers, if you could walk away with the Dodgers and having, posted a couple of wins on, in your tally, then this is going to be a good year for them. I know it's early and a lot of horrible things can happen, but I picked the Phillies to win it all this year. And if they can hold their own with teams like the Dodgers, that's a positive thing. Now, the Dodgers are going to be playing the Nats. May is pitching, and Gore is pitching for Washington. He's been phenomenal. Had a great start his last game. Reds and Giants are going to be facing off on Monday. And we know that the Reds can pitch. Is whether they can continue their hitting. The Padres are going to be playing the A's in Sacramento. Shh, the A's playing. And your pal Sully is going to be there. Now, let me tell you something. I hope this is an NLCS preview that we saw between the Dodgers and the Phillies. Not necessarily because I'm a Dodger fan or a Phillies fan, but if these are the star-studded teams that could potentially go to the NLCS, and this is the kind of baseball they'll be playing, yes, please. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you will get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Look at I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking the Celtics to do well or diving into player props. From three-pointers to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head to fanduel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right, let's take a quick look at who owned baseball on this wild Sunday that was filled with walk-off wins and come from behind victories. You know, the Pirates and the great game against the Yankees, and great stuff going all over the place. Who owned baseball? Chris Bubick of Kansas City pitched in the seventh, allowed one run and one walk in 6 2/3 innings, striking out 8 Orioles to earn the 4-1 decision for KC. Jackson Churio homered twice, and he drove in 5 as the Brewers topped Cincinnati 8-2. Andrew Haney pitched 10 Yankees over 7 innings, allowing 1 run, and it set up the Pirates' 5-4 walk-off win. Tommy Pham got a walk-off win in extra innings. And Rafael Devers had quite a night, as did Alex Bregman. We'll talk about that in just a second. Earning half wobs. Jack Dreyer, I gave it another relief pitcher getting a half wob. He came out of the bullpen for Los Angeles, and he threw 2 1/3 shutout innings, and for a while looked like was calming down the Philadelphia bats. But eventually Trinan was the one who wet the bed, and he wound up blowing it. And also blowing Teoscar Hernandez's great day. As I mentioned before, he went 3 for 3 with 2 homers. Martin Perez had another terrific day as he helped the Tigers to 1 run over 6 1/3 innings, but it was yet another walk-off win. This time it was the Tigers getting a walk-off win against the White Sox 4-3. And as I mentioned, the Mariners played well. Cal Raleigh reached base 4 times, including a home run, but Seattle got edged by the Giants 5-4. Now, I could have gone who owns baseball to Alex Bregman, who had a phenomenal nightcap as the Red Sox just absolutely trounced and humiliated the Cardinals 18-7. And it was 10-0 after 3. And Bregman drove in 6 with 4 hits, including a home run. But I'm giving the Who Owns Baseball Rafael Devers for this reason, because he had he got on base 5 times in the nightcap, but he also homered in the first game, and overall in the doubleheader, Devers got on base 7 times, doubled twice, homered, scored 5 runs, and drove in 4. I really, really hope you had him activated on your fantasy team today. And also just goes to show how much panicking can happen early in the season. Devers essentially had a bad couple of weeks, or a bad, week and a half. And then suddenly today he exploded, and the Red Sox, bats absolutely mashed. And right now, Boston is 6-4. And again, you can't look at the standings or anything at this point, but the Red Sox are after kind of they were what was it? They were 1-4 at one point, and now they're 6-4. The first 10 games, the first time you go look at the last 10, they have a winning record. And they off that rancid start. They won the opening game, then they lost 4 in a row. Now they've won 5 in a row. They might be a very streaky team. That may be what it's going to be. But, and the Yankees go off to a tremendous start, and the Red Sox are keeping pace with them. Keep pace with the teams that are supposed to win, and you have a chance. It's not a crazy situation there. By the way, I love the situation in the pitching for the Red Sox in the nightcap, the ESPN game. They had called up Hunter Dobbins, who is made his major league debut today, pitched 5 innings, allowed 2 runs. He let up 8 hits and 2 walks, but they gave him he had such a cushion, and it was a 10-run cushion at one point that it was like, you know what, let's push him, let's get him 5 innings there. And they had thrown a bunch of pitchers in the opening game, and so Cooper Criswell came out, and his job was to basically go out and finish the final 3 innings. And he didn't pitch particularly well. He let up 4 runs. He let up 5 runs altogether, 4 of them in the ninth inning. So he pitched 3 runs in 3 innings, 4 hits, 5 runs, 3 of them earned, 1 walk, and he let up a home run. And he got the save. I love saves like that. I love the 3 inning saves at the end of a blowout. But it saves the bullpen. A bunch of them pitched in that opening game, which was which turned out was an extra inning game. And, when you look up and you saw, Newcomb didn't get through the fifth, and he was Weiser, Wilson, Slayton, Whitlock, and Chapman. So, at the end, you don't have to use any of them again. I like that. It's called stretching pitchers out. It's like, hey, do you know what? Let a pitcher pitch a couple more innings. Let a guy come out and it's a blowout. Let him pitch the final 3 innings. And I like the fact that the Cardinals did not bring out a utility infielder to pitch the final inning of a blowout. They brought out Chris Roycroft and had him basically finish the game out, because do you know what? I'm getting really tired of position players pitching. Yeah, it's once a year. It's a fun thing. I don't like that it becomes a part of strategy, because that just shows we're not stretching pitchers out, and it's going to wear down the bullpen. I was listening to when I was walking my beloved Eleanor, who's a dog. I was listening to part of the Houston and Minnesota game, and this was another extra inning game. The bullpen, which for Minnesota's bullpen has been pretty good so far, but they allowed a Alvarez home run to tie the game in the ninth, and the Astros scored 2 in the 10th. But they've been leaning on their bullpen a lot. And the announcer, I think it was Dan Gladden, pointed out the fact that Chris Paddock, the starter for Minnesota, was taken out of the game, and he wasn't pitching great, but he was taken out of the game with only 68 pitches through 4 innings. And it was he had let up 3 earned runs in 4 innings, which was not, again, no one's going to confuse this with Jack Morris pitching Game 7 of the 1991 World Series. But when you take a look at their bullpen right now, Varland already has 5 games. Danny Colombi has 3. Like, a bunch of players are already getting a lot of work in. They're going to the bullpen a lot. And one of the strengths for Minnesota is they have a decent bullpen. But they're not letting their starting pitchers do piddly-poo. Now, granted, other than Pablo Lopez, their starting pitching doesn't look that great right now. But let's push it a little bit. And I completely agree. If you're going to be using your bullpen like this, you will eventually see this bullpen crashing, because they're using them every day. This has to be something that's addressed somehow. You got to let your starting pitchers get a little deeper into the game. We're going to see this every damn year, and I don't like it. I'm going to say it every damn year. And you may not like that I say it every damn year, but one thing you can't say is that I'm wrong. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients has also partnered with 2-time MVP and future Hall of Famer Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. Now, I love that Just Ingredients prioritizes wholesome, nourishing ingredients without all that artificial junk. Now, whether you're recovering after workout or you need an energy boost, their grass-fed whey protein and pre-workout deliver real results. Visit justingredients.us and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow Just Ingredients on Instagram. That's at just.ingredients on Instagram. All right, I'm going to wrap up a little bit, but we are going to go through a couple other some of the viewer questions here. Oh, and by the way, I am keeping my eye on the Angels, not necessarily because I'm a huge Angel fan, but because I want to see Mike Trout play meaningful games. Well, we start to see today when the Angels won 6-2 in a game against the Cleveland Guardians. Logan O'Hoppe already has 5 home runs, and he has a 1.221 OPS in the early part of the season. Tyler Anderson was throwing a one-hitter, but guess what? It wasn't a very good one-hitter. He also let up 4 walks and hit a batter. And so they wound up going to the bullpen, and the bullpen pitched pretty well. And with that, the Angels held on for a 6-2 win. Now, Trout did not homer, but he did get on base 2 times. Soler homered and Paris homered. And look they've won each of their first 3 series. They're 6-3. And I want to see Mike Trout play meaningful games. Now, Mega Austin said, if I remember correctly, the Angels got off to a good start last year as well. Well, yes and no. They had a 4-game winning streak early in the season. So at one point they were 4-2, but they did finish the month of April 11-19. So, yeah, they did have an early 4-game winning streak that got people a little excited for a minute, but by the time April was over, it was a disaster, and they only had 1 month where they were above 500. That was June. And of course, by the end of the year, the Angels narrowly avoided, a 100 loss season, and partly because they finished the season 1-9. They just were the final chunk of the season. They just were just awful. In fact, the Angels finished the season losing 17 of their final 21 games. They had checked out. They were already making plans to go anywhere else. But speaking of the Angels, I want to bring something up here. Useless Trucker is an everyday Sully listener. Oh, and by the way, if you do listen to this every day and you want to post something on one of the social media sites, please use that hashtag Everyday Sully. It helps us keep track of who's listening to us, and we can kind of get a sense of how big our audience and who's listening to us all the time. Well, Useless Trucker came in and he posted something the other day, and I'm not going to let this go, buddy. And he, like me, he lives in Southern California, which means all Dodger games are blacked out. All Angel games are blacked out. Blackouts are insane. Blackouts are stupid. And especially if I'm paying for the MLB app, I should see every game. There's no excuse. I'm a paying customer. But Useless Trucker wrote this. First, I can't see the Angels or the Dodgers due to blackout restrictions because I'm in Southern Cal. Then I go to the Angels game and get tossed. It's possible to see a game these days. Record scratch. Useless Trucker. You got tossed from a game? You just said that as if you got a one of those nacho helmets. You post stuff constantly, whether I'm doing a live show or whether you're doing something on, posting something on YouTube. You better expound on that. If you got thrown out of an Angel game, you got thrown out of Orange County, I want to know what happened. I want to know how you were not at fault, assuming you weren't, and I want to see video of it. You better post some stuff. Because you kind of sort of buried the lead there. Well, we got a full slate of games coming up and a really fun time as we're approaching the middle part of April. And you know what? It's just great. You have a weekend like this filled with exciting games, walk-off wins, come from behind wins. This is what the regular season's all about. And it's going to bring up today's trivia question. As we talk about the Red Hot Giants, I'm going to bring up the family that people associate probably the most with the Giants. Who had more stolen bases as a Giant? Not for their career, just as a Giant. Bobby Bonds or Barry Bonds? Who had more stolen bases as a Giant? Put the answer down here on the YouTube comment page. And by the way, if you're subscribed to here, thanks so much for making Locked On MLB your first listen. For your second listen, continue listening to the feed, and you can get Locked On MLB Game Night every night, every game, all season long. Get local analysis on our local scale. Find Game Night right here on the Locked On MLB feed on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. There's a trivia question for there. Talking about the Giants, who are winning big, and the NL West, which is really exciting, and Rafi Devers bat, which is suddenly hot again, and trying to figure out why Useless Trucker got kicked out of the game. This has been Locked On MLB. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.